Today, we're going to dive into a pretty big idea, one that really makes you question the whole point of our education system. We're asking, what is school supposed to be teaching us?
Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. All those years you spent in school, all the effort, the money, was it a true investment that's actually paying off for you right now? Or does it feel more like, I don't know, a giant expense, just a box you had to tick? That's what we're going to unpack right now. And this quote from Obidi Bwambale, man, it just hits the nail on the head. It draws a perfect line in the sand between an education that truly sets you up for life and one that, well, you just kind of get through. So what are these things he's talking about? What are the magic ingredients that flip education from a cost into a life-changing investment?
Well, here they are. According to this blueprint, it all comes down to 6 essential pillars. We're going to break them down and we'll look at them in 2 main groups. First, the skills for mastering yourself, and second, the skills for actually navigating the world. So let's start with the foundation. These first 3 pillars are all about building up your own personal toolkits. You know, the skills you need to build a successful life from the inside out. First on the list, and it is a big one, money and management. It's kind of wild when you think about it, right? How many of us go through years and years of school and walk out with basically zero real-world knowledge of personal finance? And listen, this goes way beyond just how to get a job. We're talking about the complete picture. Earning money, of course, but then what? Making it grow, investing it, and protecting it with smart management. It's practical financial literacy, plain and simple. And if you don't have it, you're pretty much starting the game of life on the highest difficulty setting.
Okay, next up for our foundation is rights and adulthood. I like to think of this as the official user manual for being a grown-up. You know, the one nobody ever actually gives you, but you desperately need. This pillar is all about the nitty-gritty, non-negotiable parts of adult life. We're talking about actually understanding a rental contract, knowing your rights as an employee, figuring out how to do your taxes, your basic duties as a citizen. This is the kind of stuff that gives you confidence, because if you don't know it, you're in for some major headaches down the road. And now for our final foundational pillar. And, you know, this one might be the most important of them all, handling disappointment. Because let's be real, life is going to throw curveballs at you. That's a guarantee. The only question is, are you ready to swing back? I love that this is framed as a practical skill. This isn't about just being tough or sucking it up. It's the real, concrete ability to look at a failure, pull out the lesson, and get back on your feet without losing all your momentum. It's basically psychological armor for a long and pretty challenging life. All right, so with that internal foundation nice and solid, we can start building the structure on top of it. These next 3 pillars are all about looking outward, about how to really engage with all the systems and people out there in the world. The first pillar for navigating the world is social capital. And just to be clear, this concept is so much more than just being popular or having a lot of friends. This is where we get into the strategic side of human connection. It's about fundamentally understanding that your network, your relationships with your colleagues, mentors, peers, is one of the most valuable things you'll ever have. It's about being intentional, building trust, and creating a community that can open doors you would never have found on your own. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Think of all the time you spent in school doing group projects. Now, how much time was spent teaching you how to build a genuine professional network that's going to support you for the next 30 or 40 years? Okay, our next pillar in this structure is all about understanding power and authority. This is about popping the hood on society and figuring out how the engine really works. And this slide just lays out the massive gap perfectly. School teaches you the clean, neat flowchart on the left. But true literacy in this area means understanding the messy reality on the right. All the informal stuff like lobbying, special interests, and how the media shapes the story. It's the difference between just reading the official rules and actually knowing how the game is played. And the final pillar for navigating our world is one that's just impossible to ignore these days: climate literacy. And this is not just for scientists. It's a critical skill for every single person in the 21st century. The key words here are navigating and responding. This is not about passively memorizing facts. It's about actively understanding how to deal with the real-world impacts of climate change on everything: the economy, our communities, everything. It's knowing how to adapt and how to be part of the solution. So there you have it, the complete blueprint. At the bottom, you've got that solid foundation of self-mastery, managing your money, understanding your rights as an adult, and handling disappointment.
And then, built right on top of that, you have this structure for navigating the wider world, building social capital, understanding power, and developing climate literacy.
And that really just brings us to one final question for you. When you look back at your own education, which one of these pillars feels like the biggest missing piece? Which one would have been the most valuable for the life that you're actually living today? It's a powerful question to think about, and honestly, just asking it is the first step to building that knowledge for yourself. Thanks for tuning in.